What's up, guys? It's Pavle, and this is kind of my weekly summary, or this is my weekly summary for this week. We had a really busy week. We had our finishing of our launcher. Um, we had our report due, and we kind of, had to put all that together in a week, and it felt very rushed, but it felt very satisfying to get everything done, and it was an interesting week. So. To begin, uh, I'm kind of just going to give a summary of what we did Tuesday and go from there. So Tuesday we came into class, and basically this is kind of what our launcher looked like. Um, so we initially had set our V to be 2 feet. So the V was going to be really, really large, but we decided to cut that down. But cutting it down, we didn't realize that would make our angle a lot shorter, and it basically, when we launched it and we did a test launch, the previous Thursday, we realized that it launched the distance but not the angle. So what we did coming into Tuesday is we took the missing 24 inches that we had on our V. So this was about 24, 25 inches exactly at home, give or take. We took that and we put it on our legs, and we basically measured out our legs. We gave it a little bit of room for error. So the legs themselves were also about 25, 26 inches, and we measured it to be at an exact, not exact, but at least a 45-degree angle. So this was, I think, measured at around 50. So this kind of like basically just made it so all we had to do was pull back, and we would get our angle, and we would just have to aim it, kind of use our eyeball test and aim it. So basically Tuesday, that's what we ended up doing. These are the videos that we ended up getting here. This was our launch analysis video. It's kind of hard to see because it's dark, but Tyler's the one launching and I'm recording it, and Noah's just hanging out here. This was pretty much like we did 5 balloon tests, and then this was kind of just the one I ended up recording. This ended up going 24 feet or 24 meters, I should say. So Noah was standing at 25. This was 30, so it was like right in between. And I'll kind of go into how I ended up analyzing the video and kind of like the few kinks I ended up running into it. This was our instructional video, so just kind of how to launch it from the base. As you can tell, it's like super sturdy. Just basically pull back as far as you want, and you can get it. This was probably our best launch, which ended up going like 37 meters. So I really wish that was like the one that we ended up launching, but because of like the angle and stuff, we didn't get the best launch for the one that we did on Thursday. So kind of after we finished our launcher, David gave us kind of the instructions and everything that we needed to do for the report and things like that. It was kind of a lot, and it was very surprising because it felt like it came so suddenly, but most of you guys kind of saw what we put together, because I ended up doing the main Google Doc, which I didn't know was on open, read on, or was, it wasn't set to read for the class. It was rather just, open for all of us to edit. But most of you saw what we already had previously. But to start, this is just kind of our team story. It was I wrote it for us, so it's super simple. Just kind of gives us an overview of who we are, the name, and why we decided to go with the design that we did. These are kind of mechanical drawings. There's no specifications in there because it's just more to give you an idea of the design and the parts that go into it. Whereas if you do really want to know like how the dimensions of everything, they're included in the instructions. So if that's something you want to build, feel free to look through and give it a read. Go kind of coming down here to the analysis video. David gave us the Logger Pro link, and basically on that day kind of downloaded it, and I messed with a few videos that I had previously. That's one thing that I really took away from this whole project, was learning how to work with Logger Pro and analyze videos and do everything that Logger Pro you know, lets us do, and how to analyze it, and how to set each equation. Um, One of the difficulties that I ran into was I realized that when you do record, you want to record with a standstill like spot. So I ended up moving my camera from right to left, which made it a lot harder to plot. So rather than doing it frame by frame, I literally had to go even less than that to be able to catch the angle of the balloon. But ultimately, I was able to kind of do it, and accurately. So that was one of the kinks that I think for future reference I can always look back and realize, like, hey, like, I need to make sure the camera is still. And it might be something obvious for a lot of people, but for me it was a definitely a learning curve. Moving on, this was our 3D model that we initially had. Tyler did all this, so this is kind of where you see the obviously our design changed a lot. But this is where we had the original V. This was our 45-degree angle leg that would just kind of angle it at that degree. And obviously we had to kind of change a lot of the design, but we primarily try to stick to the V, and keep it original, because that was our thing. This is the glow script that we had. So Noah did this. It's very he kind of gave us a rundown, and basically it's very similar to what David explained to us. It's just he inputted the dimensions that we needed and what applied to our launcher, as you can see. Most of us, I think, are familiar with it now, and that's the VPython. This is the Excel. So the Excel was Tyler, but we all kind of worked on it and contributed to it, because it was so much work, and a lot of the data is kind of based off estimates, and because you can't really measure everything out, you can kind of get a generalization by measuring, and then just kind of going from there. So that's kind of what we did, and from there we just spin out like certain graphs aside from the or the motion diagrams, which I kind of did here. I just kind of did them by hand to give you an idea of how the balloon moved throughout time and its position. That was that. And I think that was pretty much it for the Google Doc. That was kind of what we submitted. It was generally, it looked like a lot, but after we put it together, it was not that much. One thing that I would say that I definitely learned from this week was that how to use a lot of the tools, and just how to put together something from, let's say, like a 3D model, and how it goes into being put into real life, and all the steps that it takes, the different procedures that you switch up left and right. And that was a great learning experience for me. I've never really had to work with things like that, so I think it's something that I can take away from the future to other classes, and just in real life, like if I ever need to make something, makeshift something, I can take those skills that I learned and understanding how to use the tools, and take that to to life, to the real world, as I would say. To kind of shift off that, after we got done Tuesday, we all signed up for our interview. So for the most part, I'm pretty ready for that. I'm excited. They seem like something very interesting to also learn from. It seems like has a lot of real world applicability, and something you can interviews is something we'll all have to go through at some point. So doing that will be a great practice run. Coming back, I want to kind of throw my so just kind of that's kind of it for my weekly summary, and then I just kind of want to close it out with my 2 highlights for the week for our NEAT resources. So I did OBS software, which is just what I'm using right now to record, and I just kind of wanted to bring 2 highlights that I found. One was Jarrett's. He did a informational video about OBS, and I thought this was a really good video. It gave you a really good idea on how to update it. It's brand new, it's 2019, it was earlier this year, and it just gives you a good idea of how to use it, and the settings that you need to run through it, and just gives you an overall good setup to start. So if you are using OBS, I would definitely recommend following up with that. And then another resource that I'd say is Ben's link that he put, and that was Camtasia. And Camtasia is something I used to use in the past before I used OBS. This was a long time ago, but I think if you do want to use another software, I think Camtasia is great. Provides a lot of things that you can do, editing and design to your video. Other than that, this week was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I learned how to basically take a design from just a thought to a in real life project to a report, and how to just put all that together and create something like that. And that's like something that I think we're all going to need in the future. I mean, we're all going to have to do as engineers projects for whatever job we do, and then from there we're going to have to translate that into a report that we have to bring to whoever. So I think this has been a great week for just learning and being able to take all the skills that we've put together over the past weeks and apply them. So yeah, that's kind of my project. Thank you guys, and see you guys next week during the interviews.